What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Fatal Garage. I'm Josh Linnell. In today's episode, we're going to be installing a carbon fiber drive shaft into our Cadillac ATS-V. Alright, so first things first, let's go ahead and get this thing in the air. Alright guys, now that we've got the car up in the air, let's go ahead and take a look at what needs to come off here. So clearly, we got exhaust here and down pipes. We have our Borla exhaust. So up here is our drive shaft. So we're going to have to undo these connectors here at the transmission side. And this gimbo bracket is going to go away as well, and we'll just bolt right up to the transmission, so it's going to be awesome. So all of this is going to have to get taken out and away just for the time being as we put this in. And then here's where we're going to bolt into our rear diff. And so we got these bolts. We got to take off these bolts here. And yeah, it's going to be fun. All right, guys, so we got the exhaust pretty much off. The only thing I still have to take off here is the downpipes, which I'm not taking off for the time being. Sorry, that was just a bracket that dropped here. I'm not taking those off for the time being because I'm going to leave those on actually just until we do the turbos, which is going to be next. So, but without further ado, I wanted to install a BMR drive shaft loop as well during this install, since we don't have a drive shaft loop anymore, and we're going to be getting rid of the midsection here of the drive shaft. So we're not going to have that anymore. So what I'm seeing here is we have this bracket. I'm just going to spin you guys around. We have this bracket right here, and then we have the drive shaft that comes above that. So I have the BMR drive shaft loop, and I'm just seeing if the bolt holes line up, which it looks like it does. So this is the bottom part of that bracket here. And then the top part should sit above the drive shaft like so. So now we'll have an actual drive shaft loop in here. This is the BMR drive shaft loop for the Camaro Gen 6. So we're gonna test that out here, and hopefully it works. That'll make us legal, at least for the for the track, and also a peace of mind too. So I'll let you guys know how that goes. That's the stock drive shaft, 2-piece OEM with this weird funky bearing in the center. Alright guys, as you saw, we got the drive shaft off. Let's come over here and let's take a look at it compared to the stock one versus the new carbon fiber one. So now that we have the stock drive shaft out, now we can compare it to the new carbon fiber drive shaft here from Driveshaft Shop that we're going to throw in. We have our billet ends here that are going to replace our original ends. Now it's a 1-piece, as you can see, so we get rid of this center bearing piece here, which was kind of, you know, an issue and obviously a weak point. And then we have our billet end here as well that goes to our transmission. All the hardware is supplied. Let's go ahead and put the billet ends here into the car, and then we're going to go ahead and throw the new drive shaft in. Lastly, before we move on to the next bracket here, torque these up to 70 foot-pounds. All right, now that takes care of this front bracket here. So let's go ahead and go to the rear diff now and install that bracket. Again, just like the other ones, these go up to 70 foot-pounds. Now we have both brackets in for the transmission side and the diff side. Next up, let's go ahead and put the new drive shaft in. One thing we are going to install along with this drive shaft is this drive shaft loop here from BMR. This is actually for the 6th Gen Camaro, but I believe it's going to fit here. So I'm going to go ahead and mock it up here, and I'm going to put in 2 of the original bolts just to hold it in place as we get the drive shaft in place and see if this all works. So let's go ahead and throw the drive shaft in, and then we'll get the bottom plate that goes on the bottom of this as well from BMR to complete this bracket. But so far, success. Now that we've got our drive shaft pretty much in, let's go ahead and remove these temporary bolts here on this BMR bracket. And they supplied us obviously with this bottom bracket brace, which goes here to conceal basically the drive shaft underneath. And then obviously some new hardware to go with it with nice washers. So go ahead and let's put this on. Quick update here. So we got the BMR bracket in here, the safety loop for the drive shaft, so that's all hooked out now. I went ahead and put in the remainder of the 6 bolts in. I haven't torqued them down yet, so that's next up to do, as well as these 6 bolts down here on the differential side. So I put them all in. I just need to snug them up to the 57 foot-pounds of torque that they need to go to. As a reminder, the bigger bolts that pass through the adapters, those do go to 70 foot-pounds. So if you're looking, so 70 foot-pounds for the bigger bolts, 57 foot-pounds here for the smaller bolts. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the camera back on the tripod, tighten those back up to 57 foot-pounds, and we should be good to go here with the drive shaft. So I'm going to reinstall everything, and I still have this pan. The pan, if you guys remember, sits right about in here. Actually, yeah, sits up in here basically, right? So I had to crease the pan a little bit because the drive shaft now sits obviously a little bit low because it used to be pretty flat here for the first section before we get to the center gimbal that they had, and then it would telescope down. So that's why they only had the drive shaft cut out here in the back. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave this off for now. If you think I should reinstall this or have a reason why I should reinstall this, let me know in the comments below. But for now, I'm gonna leave it as off. All right, so now we're all buttoned up. We got all of our bolts tightened down here to the 57 foot-pounds. Everything's torqued up. We got our BMR bracket on. We got a carbon fiber drive shaft in here. We got our back bracket on. All of these tightened up and torqued down. And that's it. So that's gonna wrap it up here for this install of the drive shaft. If you guys did like this video, found it informative, feel free to give us a like. Feel free to subscribe to the channel, drop us a comment if you want to hear from us. See you guys in the next one. Peace.